Hello, everyone, and welcome to lesson 1 of our remote learning. Our first unit is going to be our financial applications unit. And this week we'll be starting off with some basic calculations. And today we're going to be comparing simple versus compound interest. First thing I would like you to do is define some terms so that when you see them in questions, you understand what is being asked of you. So when you look these up, please make sure you get a mathematical definition or a finances definition, as there are multiple definitions for words such as principal and amount. So you're looking up simple interest, principal, amount, compound interest, growth factor, and compounding period. You can pause this video if you'd like to and define those terms, and then join us back again once you've got those defined. What we're going to be doing first is comparing an investment of $1,000 at 7% interest, but we're going to be comparing simple interest to compound interest with an annual compounding period. Simple interest, first of all, gives us this formula. I stands for interest, P stands for principal, R stands for interest rate, and T stands for time. So our amount that we have put in, our principal amount, is $1,000. The question says we have 7% interest, and we're going to leave it in for 12 years. So our principal amount of 1,000 times our interest rate of 7% times 12 gives us a total of $840 of interest. So when you go back to your account after 12 years, you'll have $1,840 there because the principal is still there of 1,000 and you've earned $840 of simple interest. Now let's switch over to same investment, $1,000, 7% interest. But we're going to be looking at how is it different if we have compound interest. You'll notice the first line's been filled in for you. So year 0, $1,000 goes in. At the end of that year, interest of $70 has been accumulated, giving me now an amount of $1,070, which is what you see at the end of that first year as my principal amount. The $70 was added in, and now I'm earning interest with that $70 included. So when you do 7% of $1,070, you now are getting $74.90. When you add your initial principal at the start of the year with your $74.90, you get $1,144.90 now sitting in that bank account at the end of that year. We're going to continue to take the amount in the last column and put it here at the beginning for the amount that we're starting the year with, that we will be earning 7% interest on. Continuing with your calculator, and remember this is money, so we're going to round to the nearest hundredth. 7% of $1,144.90 is now $80.14. You can see the interest amount has increased even between year 1 and year 2, giving us $1,225.04. That's now our principal amount at the start of the year, and 7% of that amount is $85.75. Now I'm adding $1,225.04 onto that interest amount, and now we're going to have $1,310.79. I'm going to continue doing my calculations here, and I'm going to anticipate you will do the same. Please, as normal in our classroom, you calculate separately from me because I don't have you here with me personally to tell me if any of my numbers are incorrect or if I'm writing them incorrectly. So please also do your calculations, and we can just use Edsby to reply to each other if there are some errors. So I'm going to go ahead and just pause the recording and fill in this chart, and I want you to do the same, and we'll come back together again in just a few moments. So we're just comparing our amounts here, and we left off after year 5. And just continuing through, if they take the amount out at year 12, they're going to have $2,252.18 if they take it out at the start of the year. If you did continue through and took it out at the end of year 12, you'd have an additional $157.65 with a total of $2,409.83. So if you did fill in that last column there, you would have a couple of extra almost another $200 here. Not quite sure if we took it out at the start of the year or at the end of the year, depending on how that's worded. But comparing these two amounts, you can see that there's a dramatic difference between 12-year simple interest, $1,840, compared to compound interest, where they end up with over $2,000 because the interest is added on to the principal amount, and that interest rate continues to grow as years progress. So here's one more question here. Larry wants to invest $700 for 5 years. Compare the growth of his investment, 4% per year, simple, to the investment of 4% per year compounded annually. Now, to make things a little bit quicker with simple interest, you can see that we have this formula here. A is amount, P is principal, plus principal times rate times time. So this part right here is your interest. And the amount that you get is the initial principal you put into the account plus the interest that has accrued. So that's just a formula to make that a little bit quicker in our calculations. So when we plug in our numbers here for simple interest, the amount is going to equal $700 plus 700 times 4% for 5 years. Total that Larry will have at the end of his 5 years is going to equal $840 simple interest account. Again, compound interest takes a bit longer because the interest has to be calculated every year and added on to the total amount. So year 1, $700 goes in. This is 4% of $700. Added on gives you $728. And then we're going to continue that pattern of multiply by 0.4%. And for the next year, he's going to get a bit more, $29.12. And 728 plus 2912 gives us $757.12. 757 the next year, 4% interest, and we can continue this pattern for the 5 years that his money is going to be invested. I'm going to round that one to 50. It's 0.496, so I'm rounding that up to 50 cents. And again, comparing the two amounts, you can see simple interest gives you $840, but if you can find a compounding interest rate investment plan, you get an additional $45.73, same length of time, but more interest as a result of compounded and simple interest accounts. So you should be able to answer this question here. What's the difference between those two investment amounts? And very last thing I'm going to have you guys do is just quickly watch a YouTube video demonstrating this exact difference in a simple versus compound interest account amount. And please send me any questions that you have, and also check out the independent practice questions that are posted.